Hello and welcome to another video. Um, Today with a very sensitive topic. So I'm going to start with the disclaimer. I know that what I'm going to say is going to sound offensive to most white people. But before you judge, before you lose your mind, make sure that you have understood that I'm white too. So what I'm about to talk about has nothing to do with pick me energy. It has nothing to do with anything. And if you're being true to yourself, you will understand that what I'm saying is just the way it is. Another disclaimer. I was not born with this knowledge, okay? I wasn't born thinking the way I do right now. I was taught by amazing Black people in my life for years, that took their time and their energy and their emotions to make me understand their struggle. So if you're white and you don't understand, you can't relate, or maybe you even get angry, you're not there yet. So, which is fine. We all start one day, but offensive or insult, I mean, not that I care, but I'm just saying, don't mean anything. They say more about you than they do about me. Okay, so let's get into it. Are white people dangerous to Black people? On a personal question, it really depends on who you are as a white person. Okay, it depends on your character, your knowledge, and your level of ignorance and internalized racism. But generally speaking, absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. And now breathe. It's fine. Let's get over the anger, okay? The thing is, when we're talking about anger or when we're talking about danger, what's the meaning of danger in this context? Danger doesn't mean that you, as a white person, go around armed, ready to kill any Black person in sight. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the social power structure behind our whiteness, which means, and that applies to any white person in any country all over the world. Even if you are in predominantly Black societies or countries, you are still a danger and a threat to the average Black person. Why is that so? And how do we define danger? Let's start with the danger, okay? Looking at America or Germany, both are predominantly white countries or whitewashed countries. What's the meaning of a white person being dangerous for a Black person? Look at what white people have caused in America for Black people. We are talking about the most recent cases that even the Derek Charvin trial showed. First of all, this man murdered. He murdered somebody by leaning on the person's neck for 8 minutes and went scot-free for a year. Was now convicted to up to 75 years. So what does that mean? This man has severally in his career been a danger to Black people or people of color. Now, of course, he's a cop. I know the next argument you're going to bring up. Okay, he's a cop, he's in power. Yes and no. Why is he in power? And who put him in power? Who is in power socially? Are Black people able to call the police and be like, this white woman, let's just use me, okay? Maybe I have a Black neighbor, okay? And he will call the police and be like, my white neighbor is doing something suspicious. You need to come and check her. What is most likely going to happen? And if you're white and you say the police will come and nothing will happen and they are going to convict me, then you are lying to yourself. Then I cannot help you. Please go and look for help somewhere else. Um, where are Black people in social power over white people? Where? Just if you really want to argue, give me just one country in the world where once a Black person steps foot into that country, which can also be a Black country, he has absolute unlimited power over white people in that country. And I am not talking about power on a personal level, that maybe you are the landlord to white people and you can increase their rent on a daily basis, you can harass them, you can deny them jobs. I'm talking about systematic power whereby once you're white, you need to fear for your life simply because you're white. And that power structure doesn't exist nowhere in the world. And we all know its roots in slavery and colonialism. We know the whitewashing of history started with the invasion and kidnapping of Africans in 1444. So we are counting almost 600 years of whitewashing of history. Now, the danger I'm talking about is the social power structure white people hold simply because they are white. It's possible that is a very kind-hearted, loving white person that would never, ever, I mean, I'm white. I would never in my entire life, in my right mind, call the police on any black person just like that. I'm walking down the street and I see someone suspicious. No, that will never happen. But that's me. And that's my personality. That's who I am. But I could cause serious harm even to my own husband if I wanted to. And I would not be in any way limited, convicted, or stopped by the system. And that's the social power structure behind our whiteness, which means we can be a threat to any random black people, a black person we see, whether we want or not, has nothing to do with that. Our intention has nothing to do with the fact that as white people, we are given a social power over black people to do them harm, to cause them harm if we wanted to. So let's twist it around. Are black people in those situations? Now you could argue with, oh, what if white people live in the hood, which is, by the way, a racist ass, disgusting term. But okay, that's a topic for another day. Are black people in a social power structure to cause white people any harm? Let's say you are a white family and you live in a predominantly black society or area or city or whatever. The personal power is that all the people around you or most of the people around you are black. So if they are in unity and they don't like you, they could be of harm to you. They could do you something wrong. They could invade your home, they could hurt you, they could, that's a personal level, they could unite against you and give you a problem. Okay, but once these people call authorities, even if all these people in the neighborhood gather and are going to make a statement against you, they will still most likely not be believed simply because they are black. So their power is limited to personal power, individual power, maybe individual in a form of an individual group or community or whatever, or an individual person. But it's always being broken by the system. So even me as a white person, or especially me as a white person, because when we are looking back in history, white people have always been a threat to the safety, the progress, the flourishing, the growth, and the peace to black people. But who upholds this system the most? We know that globally, the most privileged person is the white man, right? So, but the system of oppression that was formed by the white man is being upheld by the white man and enforced by the white man. But every system needs a supporter. So, looking back in history, who is the white man's the biggest supporter of the white system is the white woman. The white woman has caused more harm to black women than the system itself in some cases. Like as a white woman, back in slavery days, consensual you can have sex, consent. Maybe you liked your husband's slave. That alone sounds disgusting as hell. So, pardon me, I'm just repeating what happened. I'm not saying that that's in any way okay. So, technically, maybe the slave would think, okay, getting close to you might give him some kind of safety, some kind of benefit, some kind of peace, okay? But you are being a snitch, you're being a snake. You will lure that man into having sex with you, and once he's done and you're satisfied, you are going to call upon the slave master or the owner of the plantation, and you will have that man killed, even though the sex happened in absolute consent. And that's the danger of white tears. And this is exactly what's still going on today. Of course, it's not about slavery and master. That power structure is different now. It's still very much there, but it's different. So, and that thinking of some black people associating themselves very much with white people. Again, I am not speaking for no black person. I'm just observing this from my perspective of the situation. But sometimes I had people congratulating my husband for being married to a white woman. I'm not joking. And this is because of what the white man did. 600 years of mental abuse and brainwashing doesn't go undone. It cannot be undone. It cannot be corrected overnight. So there are still very much people alive that believe that white people are superior, that white people brought civilization to Africa, that white people brought, I don't know, that white people are closer to God. That's a topic for another day altogether. But so the getting close to white people, the assimilation of whites into white societies, roots from slavery and colonialism, and roots into having mental sanity or mental peace, because they are like, okay, if I can get closer to white people, maybe they will more likely accept me, and that I will less likely be to suffer from racism. That's a that's a mental result. A mental result. Forget the psychological. The psychological effect. Thank you. Yes. Of 600 years of mental slavery and physical slavery and brainwashing of history and whitewashing of history. Those things don't happen overnight. No black man wakes up and be like, the white man oppresses me. Let me get close to his woman to see if he's going to give me less stress. No, no, no. And then this danger of white people that applies to white men too, of course, is often a problem in interracial relationships, because most white people are not aware that they are indeed a danger, or that they could be a danger to their own spouses at any given moment. So when you are in an interracial relationship, it's your own duty to decolonize your mind and to unwhitewash the history that has been fed to us ever since we started going to school. It's your responsibility to, you know, walk with your whiteness, agree to your whiteness, and take responsibility for your whiteness. Because you cannot be all upon my face, be like, oh, in general, all in people's faces, like, oh, my spouse is black, I'm not racist. It doesn't work like that. I've said that before, and I'm most likely going to say it another 100 times, because white people in general don't like listening. Yeah, so we can be a danger to black people around us at any given moment. Once again, I am not accusing any random white person of being a danger actively. No, that's very far from it. Very, very far from it. It's not about can you, would you, or would you ever do that? No, it's about you are able to. And that's exactly the problem. So when we're talking about the danger, it's not an individual level. The individual level doesn't help. Your intentions don't help. You might be like, oh, my intentions are pure, my intentions are good. I love my black family, I love my black spouse, but you might still be a threat to them in the eyes of the system. Also, the system doesn't be like, oh, your partner is black. Don't worry, we are going to give him only half the treatment of racism. So when you're white, you need to be aware of all these things in order to be, can I say, a safe space? Um, I'm struggling with that term, because once you're white, you're seen different than your partner socially. So how can you be a safe space to someone that suffers from your oppression socially? You get what I'm saying? So, but at least your home and your private area can be a safe space according to your own, your knowledge has to make that possible. Your knowledge has to um enable to disable the system outside, and you have to leave your colonized mind at the doorstep. Once you enter your house, with black people in that house, you need to shut up. You need to decolonize yourself, and you need to be aware of your whiteness at all times, 247, 365 times a year, 24 hours a day. You need to know that you could be a potential death threat to black people around you. I'm not there yet. I mean, we are all not there yet. There are many situations whereby maybe you're watching a movie and something funny happens, and in that joke the n word is being dropped. It happened to me before that I laughed because the joke was actually funny. I'm not supposed to find it funny when people are dropping the n word, you know? So even though it were two black people, still these things are problematic. And of course, my husband doesn't bother. He's not like, oh my God, you laughed at the N word, because I didn't actually laugh at the N word. I laughed at the joke, right? But still, these are minor things, and you need to be sensitive to those things, because these things can be a trigger so fast, and they can They can like out yeah, they can overlook all the good intentions you have. They can they can over outweigh the good intentions you have when you're not being sensitive to your language, to your knowledge, to your talking, to your thinking. When you're not aware of certain things, like today when we are watching a movie and these things happen, it's no longer, it's difficult. I no longer feel comfortable in that. That's because I know these things are wrong. It's wrong. I'm not supposed to laugh. Like, you know, there are black people that would be like, oh, don't bother. It's not like that. And there are black people that are like, oh, you laughed at the N word. Oh, you're racist, right? And it's they are very much their right to not find it okay if white people are laughing about racist jokes. We are not supposed to laugh about racist jokes. So you need to progress from actually everybody's a work in progress, okay? But white people especially, we are a work in progress because you cannot be like, I love my partner, but racism is long ago, but skin color don't matter, but I don't see color, then the love is not genuine. It cannot be genuine if you don't see him in all his struggle, or her in all his struggle, in all their pain, in all their history, in all their being. Your house has to be a safe space for their blackness in any aspect, unconditionally. And if you can't do that, you most likely shouldn't be with a black person. So that's that.